So, music is a language, right? So, why aren't we speaking it? Okay, so here's my take on what music is and how we should be learning it. I truly believe that learning music is essentially like learning a language. When you started learning how to write or read and even speak your language, you started by understanding the sounds and associating those sounds to drawings. Those drawings are of course letters, but in the beginning they are nothing but drawings. They are just a graphical representation of whatever sound we attach to it. Those letters, those drawings have no meaning until we, two things, say it and then contextualize it. For example, one thing that I see a lot of musicians doing is they repeat the same words over and over again. Isn't that what a crazy person does? I mean, let's think about it. When you have your go-to exercise, when you have your go-to drum beat, you have your go-to scale that you always play the same solo. Man, aren't you just saying the same thing over and over again? Why would people listen to you? We need to be very careful about how we approach learning music. Okay, so here's how I approach it. Because I see music and learning music as a language, I try my best to speak it. So I start small, very small elements. And we are only talking about rhythm, but the same thing applies for melody, by the way. So I start by understanding the basics of rhythm. What a whole note is, what a half note is, a quarter note, an eighth note, etc, etc. I need to understand what those are and what they sound like. Those are your letters. You need to understand the letters before you can build a word. A lot of students skip those steps and then the words make no sense. Then we start putting those letters together, building very short words like dog, mom, dad, cat. Simple. Next step would be to put some words together. I wouldn't even care about those words making sense with each other. It's not a sentence yet. We're just trying to understand how words put together fit the sentence, even if that sentence has no meaning yet. Now that we understand how that works, how we can fit the bar or sentence, it's quite important to start understanding how those rhythms or words work together. For example, say it out loud. Literally, and I know I'm always saying this, but vocalize those rhythms, because if you do, then you're gonna hear familiar rhythms coming out of yourself. You're gonna hear things that you never heard before. That's an idea. You're gonna stumble upon interesting ideas. You're gonna stumble upon ideas that are pointless. It's fine. It's like learning a language. You actually believe that everything you read till today was actually meaningful. It's part of practicing the reading skills, it's part of practicing the speaking skills, it's part of practicing developing your brain and cognitive skills. What's the next step? We need to start building a speech. That's another thing that a lot of students don't really spend any time on. They don't think about speech. What do I mean by speech when it comes to music? Your ideas, when put together, they need to make sense. That doesn't mean that you have to repeat the same idea over and over again. You can develop that idea. However, be very careful with the random factor. A lot of musicians play a bunch of random ideas. Guilty as charged. I did that for many years, and sometimes I still do. When I'm playing, I find myself not saying anything. Fortunately, now I have enough awareness that I stop myself. Okay, even if I'm playing in front of an audience, I kind of stop myself in my mind and I find a new route. I find a new way to get out of that meaningless and pointless speech that I'm now sharing with you. So how do we practice that? We need to sit down playing our instrument and thinking contextually. So what you have to do is you gotta come up with a story. You need to have something to say. And we all have something to say. That's why social media is so full. We love sharing our minds and we love sharing our emotions and feelings and thoughts. Why can't we do that when playing an instrument? Easy, because you don't know how to speak it yet. So we need to go deeper, we need to learn more words, we need to expand our vocabulary. We need to be literate, we need to be knowledgeable, and we need to be aware. Missing one of those elements is going to be horrible for your communication skills, because you're not present, you're not really communicating, you're just mumbling and stuttering and kind of randomly putting words together that mean nothing. If I suddenly start talking about letters, you're gonna be like, whoa, wasn't this video about how to speak music? Exactly, we need to stay in context. Unless you really want to change subjects, but make that a conscious decision, not an accident. So for me, to finalize this video, it's super important that we start embracing this idea that music is a language and should be learned as such. There are rules like grammar rules, phrasing rules, semantics, vocabulary. Buy a dictionary for music. Start learning those words, start learning those ideas, turn those letters into words and words into sentences, and those sentences into speeches. If you have that skill to communicate with people, people will listen. If not, they will go away. And if you think that people are paying attention to you, what they really are is bored and they can't even move. So bear that in mind when you practice your solo skills, when you work on improv, even when you're playing just straight grooves. Make that logical. Don't just play something mechanic. Say something and try to listen. Try to listen to your own voice in the instrument. I wish you the best of luck. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.